Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Core Brands podcast. Today, it's a guest episode, and I am very happy to welcome to the show Sanja Trajkoski. And Sanja, welcome. And do you want to maybe give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself?
Thank you very much. I'm delighted and excited to be part of your podcast. My name is Sanja. Originally, I'm from North Macedonia. I'm living in Ireland for almost 11 years now. Who am I? Well, I'm wife. I'm a mother. I think I'm getting new role now, becoming a children's books author soon, very soon. And by profession, I am an accountant, but most importantly, not most importantly, but like professionally, I define myself as a woman in finance and as someone who is passionate about, not just personal finances and business finances, money mindset. So I love music, I love dancing, and I suppose I'm kind of like half creative person, half this numbers girl, and I try to blend it together.
Yeah, I'm delighted to have you here because finance is such an important topic for everyone, personally and in business. And just before we dive in a little bit into your background, can I just ask you a question? When you were growing up as a child, what type of importance money had to you? Was it something that you would think much about it? Were you kind of like, did you have like an awareness of finances and
Honestly, I did not because the way I remember like is that my family, they were struggling financially. That's something that stood with me. And but my first kind of like, you know what, I was thinking actually about this yesterday. And if I think about the first way I got into this exchange thing was when I was a child. I really loved to play shop, like to sell things. So I remember with my friends playing like a supermarket. So I was selling this. I was, taking those small rocks, and they supposed to be popcorn. So I was selling those popcorns to my friends, and I was using leaves from the trees as money. So that's what is my probably the start of something that will bring me into coincidence or not, I don't know, but will bring me in this finance world that I genuinely love. But then if I think about my way of growing up and the things around money, I don't really have some, how to say, the way I remember things is, yeah, that our family, my family was struggling around money. That I remember as well that for some time my mom and dad, they were working and they were not being paid. So the situation was really difficult. But then on the other side, I also remember then, when the things started improving, my mom and dad, they don't save money. And I'm not saying this like, it's a negative thing or whatever, but like they never had this mindset, okay, okay, now the things have improved, how we will handle our financial situation, just to make sure that we are protected in the future. So that wasn't there as well. And then I started working at the age of 16. So that's the moment when I actually started earning money. And the first thing that I bought myself was a laptop. And I was working 2 shifts. So I was literally working like more than 12 hours in a day just to afford to buy this laptop first time for myself. And yeah, even nowadays, like I see like my parents, like they improved a lot, to be honest. Like, and they improved, especially when I was very vocal, especially with my mom, that, you know what, you guys are not getting younger. And I have to be honest. So you need to, you're earning well now, but you have to, start saving money. And you know what? It worked.
amazing?
My mom is telling me like almost every month, like how much she saved, but I'm making sure I'm checking. But upbringing wise, my upbringing wasn't like very positive experience or like a constructive experience or experience that, let's say, from which I will get like lessons about, like, let's say, how to invest or something that I'm teaching my daughter, or how to be good with money. But on another side, I was raised that, you know what, I have to work, I have to earn my money. So it's, things don't fall from the trees. But even though I wouldn't say that to my daughter, but I understood that if you want something, you have to work for it. And if I have to connect this like with money, that's a positive experience that I was always trying to find my way to earn about the things that I want.
That's amazing. Yeah. And it's never too late to change our habits as well. Like it's
Absolutely
incredible.
no.
how you were able to bring this type of experience into your mom's habits, and now she's transformed the way that she sees the money and how she's saving and everything. So that's definitely a positive thing. So now you are a business owner and you own BTS Accounting Services. Is that correct? What were you doing before? Were you on corporate? What's your
No, I wasn't in corporate, but I was employed. You see, with finance, especially with accounting, you kind of have like a two routes, maybe three now when you start working for yourself. But like the first one, when you're a trainee accountant, you either go in a practice. So that's like those smaller accounting practices where they work for different type of industries, or you alternatively go in a big industry, let's say pharma industry, for example, and you work for that pharma industry. So if we talk about the big companies, then you will say, yes, I'm coming from a corporate. My experience is in those smaller practices, even though like it's not that small like BDO where I was working as an auditor. So they're like top 5 firm and I was auditor there. So it's kind of like a mix, but I cannot say like, that I come from a corporate, but I do come from a background where I was, an employee in this industry for more than 10 years.
And were you doing in Macedonia before you come to Ireland, or is it something that you start exploring once you came to Ireland?
In the finance world, I started back home. Interesting enough, when I finished high school, just before going to university, I wanted to study accounting, but the only option was for me to go in the capital city, and my parents couldn't afford that. So the other first option, really real option, was to go in the closest city and study financial security and control. That will be as well. There was accounting, there was finance. I was studying finance, but it was more like a role, like you're working in a financial police. Where I discovered really, my mindset is all about solving problems, and this like a solving the puzzle. So that's where I discovered there when we were talking about financial crime, solving cases, etc., as part of my studies. And then before I came in Ireland, because the way I came, my husband came first, then I followed for almost a year after that. Sorry,
It's okay.
just a second. So then I knew that I would like to work in accounting. And that's how it started. Like I literally came here and started exploring opportunities how I can get into the accounting sector. I had some small experience in accounting in my country, but I was working in non-governmental organization in the financial sector, but not pure accounting. So if I have to say where my career started, it really in Ireland. That was in 2015.
Amazing. And then was there a moment that you thought, okay, now I want to go solo. I want to build my own business. When was that? And was there kind of like a trigger or something that happened that made you realize, oh, I can go this way now?
Yes. So the way I remember it is, I don't know how many years ago. I would say like it's more than 6-7 years. I was not a mom then, and we were on a dinner. Me, my husband, and another girl, and she's an accountant as well. Now she lives in France. She's a very dear friend of mine. And we were discussing, what we would like to do, etc. And I remember my husband asking me, but what would you like to do, Sanja, like maybe, let's say, in 5-10 years from now? And I was like, oh, I don't want to tell you. And he's like, well, why? And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to tell you, because I thought I had this idea in my head, but I thought, you know what? If I tell it with maybe being, I don't know, superstitious, like it's not going to work on like how I will be perceived. And then he was like, but tell me. And I was like, you know what? If you are really asking me, I would like to work for myself, and have my own business. Even though working for yourself and business, they're really different things, because for business, you really need to have like employees, systems. So I'm still not there. But I said like, and he was like, oh, okay, well, what is going to be? And I was like, well, yeah, I'm an accountant. I'm going to have my accounting practice. And he was like, okay, and he doesn't really remember that part, but I do remember it. Like it stood with me. And then the real change happened in 2023, when I wasn't feeling the job where I was working, honestly, as a mom, was amazing, because I was working from home. I was working in audit. I really loved audit. I still love nowadays, even though I'm not doing that. It was very flexible. I was okay paid. I knew I couldn't progress. But then as my daughter was growing, I realized I'm not intellectually stimulated. So I have to do something. And at the same time, there was this turbulence. You remember probably in the market with the layoffs happening with tech companies, etc.
Yeah.
But I mean, this that happened with me, it was after that. But there was this turbulence that I wouldn't expect from my husband actually initiating that conversation. I was telling him, I said, like, you know what? I don't feel intellectually stimulated. And I said, like, maybe it's time for me to change. Bianca is older now, I can, maybe do more. And he was like, you know what? I want to ask you something. He was like, your other option is maybe going to corporate, but I would really want to ask you to consider maybe start working for yourself. Now it's the time. Try it. Maybe maybe you won't like it. Try it now. Really, you have every opportunity to try. And I'm looking at him and I was like, yeah, you're right. But then the moment was like, I was naive. And then I realized, the fear and everything came, it's not easy when you start working for yourself with all that uncertainty. But that was the moment when I decided. It was actually around, I would say, November 2023. And then, yeah, I told my boss, I said, like, listen, you know what, I will quit. And, I told them I want to try working for myself. And that was the time when I was like, I will try this. After that, there were a lot of times when I was crying to my husband, why you said this to me? Like, am I doing mistake? Because Roberta, I started with 0 clients. I had a clue what I was doing.
We all start, with 0 clients. Like, some people take more time to build up their clientele, but yeah, it's scary. And it kind of like makes me want to ask you, because I think this is such an important thing that people don't talk enough. Like, I
Mhm.
see on Instagram, social media, people saying, if you want to start your business, just go for it. Just take the leap, just take the risk. And I think the way that you did it, it's pretty much similar the way that I did it in different circumstances. But you kind of like have to have a support system around you, that being your husband, your partner, and you have to have some sort of savings, because it's going to take some time to build up, right?
Say it. You need to have financial security. Don't be afraid to say it. And I agree with that. You must have financial security.
It's not a
What
fair
that
deal.
means? No, 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 no. I mean, I've been asked. I actually had question like this. Like, this happened to me when I went on networking event. There was a lady. I don't remember her name or her company's name. She said to me, when did you start it? And I told her, like, I think I was like 6 months. No, sorry, that was almost a year when I was working for myself. Because at that stage, I had my first client. I got my first client after 9 months. Okay. So this is a period of, let's say, more or less close to a year. And I go there and I said, like, I started, not like less than a year ago. And she was like, and who supports you financially? You know what? Before that might made me feel uncomfortable. But then, I stood my grounds and I was like, my husband. And I felt proud with myself because I told it with ease. He was supporting our family financially, but our financial stability, the systems we put in place in the last 10 years. It's not just him, it's both of us. It's a collaboration. We are a team. And since day one, we were like, it's not my or yours money, it's our money. So at the moment, yes, from month to month, he was supporting us financially. So, but we did have savings. So
Yeah.
it's not that I just decided out of the blue, especially, you know what, I think it's very important who says when they say, oh, just go for it, build your dreams. Like, I am a parent. Like, I have
Yeah.
responsibility. Like, our daughter is still going in crash, and we know in Ireland that crash is expensive. We have mortgage. I couldn't say, oh yeah, sure, I will just follow my dreams. I would love to be in that position, but if I have to be honest, you need to have financial security. What that means, it's different for everyone, but I would start with have your savings, have something to fall on. And that's, it will be easier on you. Otherwise, you will give up straight away. Mostly because it really depends in what type of business you are. But let's say I'm in accounting. Like, many businesses, they need an accountant. And like, I can say, yeah, it might be easier than, let's say, other service-based businesses. You never know. Like
Yeah,
it's not that easy. I might have thought with the go with the thought, just because my industry is, it's in industry in demand. But when you actually do the work, it's different. The reality is different. So you must have financial systems in place, and you must have savings that will support you. And I always say between 9 months and a year.
yeah, yeah. It's so important. It's always to take the pressure out of you because
Mm,
if you then start kind of like going on a snowball, panicking, oh, I'm not getting clients. Oh, but I don't have enough savings
yes.
to cover for my monthly expenses. And as you said, if you're parents, if you have your mortgage and your day-to-day expenses, then it can kind of like build up that snowball pretty quickly and people may fail. So yeah, I always like to kind of like debug that myth that, oh yeah, just go for the dream, just quit.
No.
And it's hard. Like I was in a corporate, I had, pension, I had stocks, I had, like all those perks, health insurance, and all of a sudden like there was nothing. Like it's a big change, and people need to be more thoughtful when they decide to take that step. Not to crush anyone's dreams, but I'm pretty much realistic, and I like to talk things as they are.
But you know what, Roberta? I don't think that if how to say this, if you have an idea to pursue something, the only option is not just always like, oh, give up, like the stories that we hear, like, oh, give up your corporate job. I think I do hear this very often. And like, oh, I left corporate and I did this, etc. Blah, blah, blah. There is other way to pursue your dreams. If you can't afford now to leave your job, okay, try to find 1 hour in your day and take it like, step by step and start build something that you want to build. And still you are working somewhere, you are earning money. So there is a way. So the only thing that I would like to say is that you need money to make things happen. And that's the reality, especially with cost of living crisis, etc. That's the reality. We use money in every day. Like, you go out, you want to buy yourself coffee, you need money for that, right? So I think we should be just honest with ourselves. But that doesn't mean that to pursue something, to make your dream come true, that you always need to leave your job. There
Yeah.
is other ways how to fund that. And I just think we should be honest with ourselves in which situation we are.
Yeah, yeah. And I definitely see that with my clients. A lot of my clients start working with me and they're still working on their full-time job while
Mhm.
they're building up their brand and their business, because once they quit or they leave that job, all that financial security is gone and they aren't so keen or so ready to invest in their business at that time. So they take that momentum to kind of like work on the business, work on the brand, build the website.
Mm.
Then when they have everything ready and they save some money, then they can do the jump and start fresh. I'm just thinking, is there any, like if someone's listening and they're struggling to get their finances organized, what would you say? Like give me like two quick tips they can start today implementing in their life.
So I can give you one tip. Start.
Doing what? What can we do, Sanya? The first
You can.
thing.
This is what I would do. Okay, if I'm starting from scratch today, and say, for example, I have small amount of savings. For example, I have no savings, and I really want, to have financial security. First, I will sit down and think with myself. Okay, why am I doing this? Why I would like to improve my relationship with money, with my finances? Where I want to be, let's say, in 5, 10 years, 15, 20 years from now. And I know it might sound like, it's far away, but it's not as far as we think it is. So it's actually you are pursuing something. So you really want this financial security to provide something for you in future, okay? And this is different for everyone. So I will start number one, sit down and think, okay, how I would like to live my life. But be honest with yourself. Then, okay, how far am I from that situation? Let's say, for example, I really want to live in a warm place. So can I afford it now? No. Like, can I afford it in 10, 15 years? if I work for it and I will make some things happen and that involves, organizing, managing my finances, yeah, absolutely I can do it. But at the moment, I'm aware I am far from that thing. So first, where you want to be, second, where you are now, okay? Then sit down and organize your finances. And when I say organize your finances, like literally either use Excel spreadsheet, use whatever you want, really. The point is to sit down and write, where I'm getting money from. Is it just my salary, my business, social, whatever it is? What are my sources of income? Second, what's my expenses? But when I go with the expenses, I will start doing mapping, okay? What are expenses that I'm paying in three ways? Expenses that I'm paying them once per year, once off. Let's say insurance you're paying, let's say every October, for example. And then I will split this, divide this into monthly payments. I will say for that second uh, way how I will map my expenses are what I'm paying every month. And the third one is the variable, let's say like grocery shopping, etc. I will start from with analyzing my expenses because the way you're spending your money is actually the way you live your life at the moment. And pretty much, if this becomes your routine on a monthly basis, after a year, you will see and you will be very honest with you. Okay, am I earning, spending more than I earn? Or can I, for example, optimize my expenses a bit more so I can afford, like, save? So then you will start realizing, okay, where can I cut on my expenses and how that will affect my well-being as well. But be honest with you, because some of the expenses that you will start, reducing, they will literally affect you, like your well-being, like money are like really related to our emotions. Okay. But then some of the expenses, you might think that they are scary if you start, reducing them off. But then along the way, you will realize actually that's not the case. This happened to me. Like I was spending 200-300 euro per month on shopping before I had my daughter. Like now I actually went on the other way, like where I was like, no, I don't need this. I don't need this. I started actually forcing myself sometimes to buy, but like I realized that I'm not spending every month like for clothes. Yeah, I'm fine. Everything is fine. Like I'm content again with my life. So start from the expenses, like, that will reveal a lot about, the things the way you want to live your life. Then look at your income. How you can maximize your income. Can you take another job, freelance? We all often forget, and this is going from my professional side, like medical expenses. Like claim medical expenses, like, from revenue. That's an additional cash coming in. It might not be much, but when you're paying taxes, why not claim for something that you're entitled for? That's income, and people often don't see it this way. It's the cash coming in. Or like claim for, like, for example, I don't know, now it's pretty famous, like carer's allowance, but like let's look at your life, and is there anything that you can claim for from revenue, which is, legitimate and it's really applicable, that you're entitled to actually? So that's cash coming in, and people usually avoid those things because of the fear. Then see, okay, is there any way I can increase my savings? First, are you saving? Do you have debt? You need to look at your overall picture and what you would like to kind of like attack first. If you have debt,
Yeah.
okay, can I, reduce the debt? How I can reduce it? Savings, how I can start save? Do I have private pension? Along the way, when you start improving your habits and have more and more savings, and let's say you have your emergency fund, do I want to start investing on the stock market? So literally is by sitting down and see where you are now and where you would like to go into the future with your finances. And the third thing is revise. When you're new into this field called budgeting, many people don't like it, but it's called budgeting, okay? It's nothing scary. It's just a system that allows you to create the future that you want to create. So if you're new in this, start with revising your finances every week, and then slowly, decrease this frequency of going like once per month, or let's say every 2 months. Like even after 11 years, we do it every month with my husband. So sometimes doesn't work, sometimes we are too busy, but we try to do it. It's at this stage, it's in our head, like, okay, let's see what's going on with our finances. So you will come to that stage where, you will put your financial well-being as a priority. And I think that's very, very important.
Very good. That was very insightful, Sanja.
Sorry, I don't think there were one or two things. I maybe prolonged this a bit, but
Think
that's how I would start.
Yeah, yeah. I think in a nutshell, it's all about having clarity of what are your goals, what you want to do,
Yes.
instead of stucking your head down the sand. It's pretty
Mm.
much facing what's the reality, where do you want to go, and then taking small steps, kind of like measuring where is your money going and where is your money coming from, and kind of like see what's the overlap and what can be done then to achieve your goals. Yeah, we do pretty much that. Me and my husband, like since like probably 13 years, we use an app and we do it monthly as well, as you were saying. And we do, it's funny because you mentioned, oh, if there's like car insurance, it's once per year. We split that through 12 months, any annual subscriptions or anything. And when it comes time to pay, the money is ready there. It doesn't feel like that big expense that it's coming out of our account. So great tips there for anyone listening. And now I kind of like want to ask you, because I know for you is very important bringing that type of awareness and education in a smaller dose to children. And that kind of like
Absolutely.
ties with the book that you're writing or you wrote. I don't know if it's already finished.
It's done. At the moment, the illustrator is working, and if everything goes well, end of March will be the book launch.
Amazing. And it will be, is there like an age range?
Yeah, it's age 3 to 8.
Okay, amazing. I cannot wait to see it. And yeah, I wish you the best of luck for that.
Thank
And
you very
in
much.
terms of, because I know you have a daughter, how do you bring the topic with your daughter on a daily basis in a way that for her, let's say when she's in her 20s and, ready to kind of like start building her own life and earning her own money, that all those learning and experience she has from you and your husband, she can kind of like bring it as well as a positive experience and all those learnings. How you do that on a daily basis?
I cannot say I'm doing it on a daily basis, but I do start with observing her because I wanted to see, okay, well, at which stage she's with her development. She'll be 5 soon, in less than a month, and at this stage I see she knows how to count, and she loves I'm not sure if this is coincidence or not, because I started playing shop, and then as I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, my the way how I was handling those money action, the direction I lives. So she loves to play shop. Okay, so she's selling those perfumes. She wants to have a perfume shop. Coincidence or not, I have a very good friend of mine who owns a perfume shop in Dublin. Okay, so and so she can relate, and I brought her to the shop. So it's very interesting to observe her, and then I see, okay, well, if you want to play a shop, what I can teach you through this play about money. So we learned that, okay, I go to buy from her shop, so I'm handing her money, or like I'm paying with my phone. So I'm explaining to her, this is cash, this is, digital way of paying. We are using our phones, we can use our cards. So at least as much as she can, she will grasp. She won't know the difference, but she knows that there are different ways how we can pay now. And then, I talk to her like I would go every day, let's say, into a shop, and then how much does it cost? Like, do you have something else? What's the price? And then I just let her express herself, and then I'm telling her, okay, well, this is the way it works when we go into a shop to buy something, we have to pay for things. But even when she was at the age of 2, 2.5, when she started like talking, I was bringing her with in the shop, and I started with teaching her, okay, well, you can't have everything that you want. So I was going through the period when, she had those tantrums, crying. It wasn't easy for me. I was trying, to understand her and to tell her, okay, let's see what we have, what's in our budget today. Even though I knew, like, 2.5, she doesn't have a clue what budget is, but I said, like, I'll try my best. So I was like, let's see how much money we have. Maybe we can plan it for today, or maybe, so just normal conversation. And I don't think she was understanding me, but I think she would have understand the tone that I talk with her, and she would be okay. But then I would have been okay as well when she was crying. So I was bringing her with me in the shop. So then, she would go at the till. I would give her my phone or cash, and I would be like, Bianca, go and pay. Even nowadays, I still do that with her. I'll bring her with me. And even like, for example, in Macedonia, when we go back home, her grandparents give her money. So we had, my mom actually opened an account for her. So we had to go and deliver some documents to the bank. And I said to my husband, you know what, let's bring Bianca with us. And I was like, I want her to go to the bank. And she had those questions. What are we doing here? What is this for? And I was like, this is brilliant. I will tell you now everything. And I started explaining to her, we're here because your grandparents are giving you money. So those money are on your account. This is a bank, da, da, da. And she was like, my money, kind of like, and I honestly love those situations, because like, if she asks, I can try and find a way to explain to her. And then she had piggy bank. So I told her, and this is actually in the book as well, we have actually 2 piggy banks, and, she puts her coins there, but now we have a wallet as well. We upgrade, and just, exposing her to everyday things that we are doing, like that they involve money. Like at the moment, obviously, I'm not going to teach her. We go in the shop, and let's say something costs, I don't know, 5-10 euro, and telling her like, oh, what you can buy for those, she doesn't understand value for money. So I think it's for me, the way I teach her is, first of all, by teaching myself to trying to teach myself to understand who is she at the moment, what is her skill set, how far I can go with explaining, and test it. And then when she starts asking questions, I will understand, okay, well, this is what she knows, this is what she understands, or she doesn't. So she won't understand value for money, but she will understand that we use money to go and buy things, okay? So now it's the spending part and part of savings. Even though a few days ago, I said to her, we were talking something about the stock market, and I said to Bianca, listen, this is the way I,
10 years
so
old,
I,
we're in
this is the way
stock
I
market.
communicate. This is the way I communicate with her sometimes, when I'm in my mood, like I'm
44 and I know nothing about the stock market. So educate me, Sanja.
no, well, listen, I'm not an expert for the stock market, okay? But I do invest in stocks, and I actually bought a course because I want to learn to enhance my knowledge about the stock market, okay? And the reason why I want to do this is to be able that one day when I'm explaining those things to Bianca, to not my decision, my thoughts to not be from a moment of fear, but to be of a moment, okay, well, I have some knowledge in this is what I learned, and this is my opinion on this. And then you can use, what I said, you can make your own decision, but this is what I think. And I think because of, I was learning this XYZ. So I don't want to be afraid and tell her, oh, no, 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 don't go on the stock market because it's risky. Because when you actually get some knowledge, it's not that risky as it seems. So, but because we were never taught, I was never taught, and I do invest on the stock market, and I can see difference now. And I'm like, okay, well, who I want to be now as a mom? Like, I want to teach her about the stock market. And actually, she's on the stock market. We have their trust for her. We do invest from a young age. But then that was probably as well motivation for me to, okay, how I can invest in my knowledge now to learn a bit more about this, because she will have questions, obviously, and I would like to try my best to answer this. So, sorry, and what I wanted to say, a few days ago, I said to her, listen, Bianca, as you're growing up, please do invest, in stocks. And like, I sometimes don't overthink the things, I don't think like, oh, she's 5, she won't understand anything. I try my best. And then the next thing I hear, what are stocks, mom? And I was like, okay, let's try. So I was using an example using her dad, the company where her dad works. It's a corporate, big corporate. They are on the stock market, and I use her dad as an example. The company where her dad works. So that was the momentum. So I cannot say I do this on a daily basis. So if I have to say and just describe how I teach her is by involving her in things. playing with her. I want those things to be fun. I don't want to be, 2 + 2 or 4, because she's curious child. I think she'll be like, come on, I'm not interested in that. So I try to find a way that will be fun for me first as a parent, that will motivate me to learn more. And then I think then I can be maybe the best version of myself to explain to her some things. But I try not to go from a position of fear. I don't want to do that really. And I think that the way I can solve maybe that problem that I think I have it sometimes is by educating myself.
You're an inspiration. Love that. Absolutely love that. I think it's so important to
Okay.
normalize conversations around money. Like I was brought up in a household where my parents always talk very openly with me about
That's
money,
very good.
things. So I was always on the loop about everything. But I know that some of my friends, that was not the case. It was a more kind of like
Mm,
closed conversation just between adults and everything. So we do the same at home with our daughter. She's a teenager, and we always try, like with teenagers sometimes can be a little bit hard, but we always try to bring her down to earth a little bit. Like at some point she asked us, not now, but a few years ago, Mom, but you can just get money from the ATM. And I was like, yeah, but you know that the money that mommy takes from the ATM, it has to come from somewhere. It's not just like magically I put my card and there's money coming out as much as I want. So yeah, it's fun, but we always like to be open as well. And I think it's really important as a couple and as a family altogether to talk about those things. And it's not
I
always,
agree.
but there's no point of hiding and sticking the head in the sand.
You know what? It's not supposed to be easy, I think. And I also think we cannot be perfect. No one is, and it shouldn't be perfect. But I think we have better chance of planting some knowledge in them if we try our best as parents to teach them as best as we can about money. And I think the first thing where to start from is to have open and honest conversation. Even though, like, for example, I'll be very happy with Bianca to talk one day with her, like, about the mistakes that I think we made in terms of money. And maybe I might plant some seed there, that it might help her to remember, because I'm starting from myself, like, and often hearing people like, I wish I was told this by my parents, or the school, or etc. So at least the best that we can do is that to make our children to remember us, that okay, well, we taught them something good. Another thing that came in my mind that I want to mention is that I was listening to a podcast this morning, a Mel Robbins podcast. I think the guest name is David Bach. I'm not 100% sure, but it's about money, okay? And something that really caught my attention was when he mentioned that he started investing on the stock market at the age of 7. Do you know how? His grandmother taught him. And
Wow.
I was like, "I- and you see, it starts from the family. I do think education is important, right? Like financial education, it will start now in schools. They start working on this. But if you ask me, it starts from young age and from the, closest family. And
Yeah.
I think as parents, we have huge power in our hands nowadays, because we have so many resources that we can educate ourselves. If we want to help our children to become financially literate, we have a lot of free resources. So education is basically for free, that we can use it to educate ourselves as parents and help our children have better financial future, or even like just to help them at one stage in their life to make more informed financial decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much information that people have available these days. So there's no excuses. Not at all. Sanya, we're almost at the end of the conversation. You are 2, 3 years in business now? True.
Oh, no,
Two,
I'm a year and a half.
year and a half in business. A book nearly ready to be launched. What's next?
Yes, I'm going on a ski holiday next week.
That's very important.
That's very important. Yeah, that's very, very important in my life. We are going to see our friends. That's I want to have some, time with them as well. What's next? To be honest with you, I didn't start this year to have some big goals, or I didn't write New Year's resolutions. I'm working. My business is growing, but I suppose this quarter, I suppose I have the need to um, slow down. There is a book actually my husband is reading. It's called The Joy of Wintering. And basically the purpose of it is sometimes, to be able to slow down. To tell you what comes in future, definitely the book launch is coming next. And then, yeah, my business is growing in a pace that I want it to grow. But this year as well, I would like to learn more how to take better care of myself. That's maybe a thing that I do struggle with, because and I assume many people do, but the way I'm raised, and I'm grateful to my parents, but I'm raised like my mom is workaholic, and I am not sure if it goes into the genes or whatever it is, but I can fall in this trap sometimes, and I'm trying to unlearn those things and to stop and to just to take better care of myself. So I suppose this is the year for that, alongside as well growing my business, but not being like, my God, I have to do this, I have to do that. I'm this year I'm more strategic in my business, like following KPIs, etc. Yeah, I can't tell you, where I want to be like in 3 months. Definitely, there will be good results in 3 months, but I didn't start my year with, oh my God, these are my resolutions. I feel the need to be a bit quiet now.
That's a great resolution, in my opinion. I think sometimes it's good to step back and look at ourselves as well. Like for me this year, and if people are asking what's the word for your year, and I say it's simplifying, because I really want, like yourself, I want to balance more the time that I have to take care of myself, as well as running the business steadily and growing. But in terms of simplifying process, simplifying timelines, simplifying collaborations, everything, that's kind of like my goal. And it kind of like it relates to self-care as well. Sanja, where do people can find you if they want to connect with you?
On Instagram, I'm actually I have two accounts. One is my personal Sanja Trajkoski, but it's not really personal. It's a place where I will talk more about the book, but where I share our experience of how we do teach Bianca about money. And there is another one, BTS Accounting Services, where from time to time I do share some tips about, that are actually related to business owners. And on LinkedIn as Sanja Trajkoski.
Very good. I'll make sure to put the links on the show notes. Sanja, it was great to have you. Very inspiring.
Thank you very much, Roberta. I really enjoyed our conversation today. Really.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you so much. And I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.